Hey everybody, Tom here, and today I want to teach you how to set up a game of Dwellings of Eldervale. Now, a couple of things to point out right at the top. First of all, I think there are three different editions of this game. There's like a regular edition and like a special edition, I don't even know, and a legendary edition, something like that. And there are two different covers for the game. So I have the fanciest, I think that's the legendary edition, and I opted for this specific cover versus the other cover. So if you're confused, maybe that's why. As I'm setting up, I will do my very best to point out the differences between the editions. I know some of them, I don't know all of them, but we'll see what we can do. Also, I should point out, this box is really big. It's like Gloomhaven size, just for some perspective. So let's go ahead and peel this lid off here. Oh, and I do want to point out this fun surprise. Look at that super cool artwork in that lid. Oh, it's so cool. Probably one of my favorite things about this game is the beautiful art. Also, I love the storage solutions because, you know, that's my thing. All right, so as we crack open the box on this specific edition, we have a whole bunch of books. We have the normal rules book. We have the solo mode book. We have some player references. So I'll probably keep a couple of these out for gameplay. And then we have a first time setup paper, just as you're like punching things and organizing the pieces and learning how to use the trays. That's pretty helpful. Then we have a solo mode board. So if you're playing solo mode, you need this board. And we have an appendix here that will reference you to every single card and all of the faction abilities and all of that stuff. But take a look. Oh man, that art. It's awesome. So, so many of these books. I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these books, but I also did want to say really quickly something I didn't notice as I was trying to unpack and store the game the first time through. I didn't look at the very back of the rule book. The very back of the rule book does have stuff worth knowing in addition to that first time setup thing. So we basically, have pictures here. Okay, so I'll go ahead and move these off this way. Now let's start digging in deep. This is going to be basically our score track board and also board that helps track ways to get points. I should have planned that ahead. But yeah, we're going to keep track of our score around the board. Plus there are going to be other things on this board that we're going to keep track of. Let's go ahead and put that right here. Now I think every version of the game, I believe, comes with these trays. And in these trays, basically you're going to have decks of cards. So there's 8 altogether, one for each of the elements that we're playing. This game has 8 elements available. You're going to have one deck of card for each. Let me just kind of show you what this looks like. But also you're going to have 12 of these tokens. And so you're going to you'll be the one to sticker up here. So you can put them in any order that you want to. And most of the cards are going to look like this. So this is the white element. I cannot remember what that one was. But they look like this. You're going to have one cover card here that looks like a door. And then on the other side, you're going to see that icon that matches that element there. Anyway, in general, what you want to do, and I'm going to mention this because this is the setup video, is basically the door card needs to go on top. All of these cards for each of these elements get shuffled. Door card goes on top. Put this here. And make sure you have 4 stacks of 3 of these tokens right underneath it. So just for right now, as I'm pulling these out, I'm going to go ahead and pull out these trays. But that's in general what you need. For all 8 elements, you got to make sure that you have the door card on top, that the cards underneath are shuffled, and that these tokens are shuffled, put face down in these 4 different piles here. So we'll go ahead and move that to the side. Let's see, what do we want to look at next? Okay, I think the very basic version of this game doesn't have any of these huge monster miniatures. The middle version of this game has 1 set of these monster miniatures, and this fancy version has, 2. So the fancy version has 2 sets of these big monster miniatures. So I'm just going to go ahead and take these out and set them to the side for now. You're going to use a number of monsters in each game equal to your number of players plus 2. So we'll talk about that later. I'm going to be setting up a 2-player game. So between all, 16 monsters, I'm going to be using 4 of them. So, yeah. All right, I'll go ahead and take those out. The other things we've got here are some resource trays, including magic cards. So let me take off one of these lids. We have 5 different wooden resources here. Okay, they look like this. Then we have gold coins. They're going to serve as a wild. And also we're going to have magic cards down here. So we have these kind of split in half. And one thing that we're going to want to do as we take off this lid, and we're just trying to pull things out of the box, is they have enough space for the magic cards to be in 2 spots if you're sleeving things. But in general, what we'll do, and I'll just do it while we're here now, is you want to take all of your magic cards, get them shuffled together, and we will put all of them in one tray face down, and then we'll use the other tray to hold the discard pile. So that's kind of how I plan to use these resources. Now, in this version, I got the wooden tokens upgrades. My guess is you might have a version that has cardboard tokens that are also very pretty. I keep going back and forth on which one I want to use. But we're just going to go ahead and take those out. Now we have trays, one for each of the different colors, and that's going to be a player color. So let me kind of pull these out for a second and just give you an overview. So we've got yellow. I believe the storm one, I think that's like the light blue, grayish color. And then we have blue. So these are kind of hard to tell apart from the picture which color it is. But I was specifically looking at the type, like blue is going to be our water element and the Atlanteans are watery. And then we're going to have the red, you can tell from the fire there. Over here we have green, we have purple. I feel like purple was chaos. I don't know. And then we have like darkness, black. And I think white wasn't light. White is like order. Anyway, all of these elements have fancy names, but essentially each player is going to pick a color that they want to play. If you've watched my channel, you know that my default is the red and the blue. And so I'm going to go ahead and just take these trays. There's stuff in them. This cardboard is actually a lid. For better or worse, we'll talk about that soon. But I'm going to go ahead and take out the red tray and the blue tray. Everything else I'm going to move to the side. We won't be using these. Now, my version of the game has these sound bases. They literally, that is what they do. They just make noise. Why did I pay for that? I don't know. It's stupid. But there's all of these other things in here, and it can feel a little overwhelming. That's why we're watching this video as we're unpacking. So at this point, before we keep unpacking, what we need to do is we need to pick which elements we're playing with. We are definitely playing with red and blue because that's what we're playing. Like each player has an element. Okay, so I have red and blue. Plus, as I mentioned before, we're going to need 2 other elements randomly chosen. So the way that I like to randomize that is I have this deck of monster cards here. Okay, and so basically I'm looking for any of these cards with super cool art, and you're going to see the element symbol on them. All right, there are other like expansions or modules that you can add in. That would be like the Mother of Dragons, the Frost Giant, and then there's going to be, these cards are for solo mode here, so don't worry about those. And this one over here, you can see is a shape. Anyway, so I'm not including these in this gameplay video. I'm not playing solo right now, so I won't need any of these cards. I'm just going to keep them there. But in general, here's how I like to pick which monsters and which elements are in the game. I know I need a red. I know I need a blue. I have all of these here. I like to mix them up. Now, again, in this fancy edition, there are 2 of each color. So there's 2 red cards. There's 2 blue cards, 2 yellow cards, and so on. If you have the middle version of the game or the basic version, you're only going to have 1 of each color. But basically, I like to shuffle these up. And then I just like to go through the deck, and whatever is, I need 2 new colors and I need a red and a blue. So for example, I'm going to have this purple beast is going to be part of our game. This red beast is going to be part of our game because I needed a red one. This is a blue one, so I'm going to use this one. He's going to be part of our game. Wow, this worked out perfectly. And here's a black one. So purple and black, those are going to be parts of the game. And everything else, we won't even need them at all. So you're going to need elements equal to your number of players. Each you need those colors, plus you're going to need 2 additional colors picked out. And I like doing this because not only are you randomizing the colors, but you're randomizing for this fancy edition which one of the 2 monsters are going to come out as well. So in this game, I'm going to need to find these monsters here. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide that over, come into my trays, and I got to figure out which monsters I'm pulling out. All right, so I'm just looking here. So for the black monster, nope, it's not that one. It is this one. Okay, so we're just going to pull those out and match them up. This chaos beast, got that. And then we have a demon of the night. That's going to be this one. And then, let's see, this one is the crocodile. There's that one. I'm not using any of the other monsters, so they can all just go back into their trays. And I'll move them out of the way now that we've got those picked. You may or may not use, if you have this version, the sound bases. If you do, I don't know that I will. Well, I feel like it's going to make recording a little bit weird. Maybe I'll start with them and then take them off. But basically, these can snap in. And some of these monsters are for the Legendary Edition, as I mentioned, the second set. And so here on the base, you have the Legendary one or just the on one. They make different noises, but I honestly don't know how to tell if this was the Legendary monster or the regular monster. So either way, you can turn it on either direction. And the idea is when you move it, it makes noises. So that seems like that matches that monster. Or flip it the other way. I don't know what monster it is. All those noises sound good. So if you're using the sound bases, you can go ahead and put them on the bases, turn the sound on, and that's literally all that those bases do, is they just kind of bring you into the theme and make some noise. Now, if you don't have the fancy sculptures or whatever, then likely what you've got are these will be your tokens instead. So you're going to have these, and you can attach them to bases instead of having the miniatures. All right, so I'm not going to be using any of these because I will be using the miniatures instead, just because they are super cool. All right, so let me just move these off to the side for now because we need the space. And again, so much unpacking happening before we can do anything. Now, we're playing with the 4 elements: blue, red, purple, and black. What we're going to need now are a bunch of the map tiles, and in order to get your map tiles, you're going to need to know what color. So first things first is we're going to go ahead and take out this tray here, and I have a whole bunch of tiles here, and for the base game, that is what I'm setting up, we're going to need 5 base tiles, and the way I set these up is I have the 5 base ones here on top, and then I have this really colorful one. This is for an expansion, and other expansion ones that you could trade in and out. They would go under here. If you're playing with 4 or 5 players, you're going to need this one. The other ones, there will be instructions in the rule book. So I kind of just keep those under this bright, colorful one so that I don't have to look it up in the book every single time. But we will not be using these in this game. So the 5 that you're going to want to fish out are the Mage Tower. And notice the brown border. That's specifically what you're looking for. The mill, the dungeon, the fortress, and the portal. So keep these 5 tiles out. We're going to put them to the side for right now. I'll just stick them here as we're working. And then what you're going to need to do is for whichever colors you're playing, you're going to need to find those 3 colored tiles. So for example, here are my 3 red ones, and you can rely on this icon if you're not sure what color it is. So I need the 3 red ones, I need the 3 blue ones, I don't need air, I don't need earth, I do need purple. Okay, so we've got our 3 purple ones, and we've got our 3 black ones. I don't need these ones here. And the thing that you want to notice as you're getting these ready, so there's 3 tiles for every color. Just a couple of things worth pointing out before you start learning about gameplay. Altogether, there will be 4 squares along the bottom. So you have 2 tiles with 1 and 1 tile with 2. that's going to be where those little tiny squares, those ones right there, those are going to go on top of these tiles. The other thing I want to point out is that one of these is going to be the layer. It's going to be where, like for example, this is our black tile with this icon. This is going to be where this monster starts out the game. So just keep an eye on that. That's maybe worth pointing out to players as they're learning the game. It's just that all of the colors have the same structure. So this one has 2 squares here and 2 icons there. These each have 1, and one of these tiles has the monster layer. Oh man, we're almost done pulling things out of the box. Okay, so other things we've got here is we're going to have 2, I have the Minotaur on the way, I ordered it late. We're going to have 2, what do you call it? They call them mercenaries that you could add to the game, but I won't because this is the base game. And then like here's the Mother of Dragons card. Here's the, what was it? The Ice Giant or something. I'm not going to be playing with those. But what we are going to need for us is we're going to need these 5 gray dice. This is going to be what the bad guys roll. And we're going to need 1 of these tiles, or these orbs, for each monster that's in the game, plus 2 more. Okay, so we're going to have 6 for our game. So we've got 1 for each of our elements, plus the other 2. And so obviously if we were playing with 3, 4, or 5 players, we would end up using all of those. These tokens are for something else. This is for the solo mode, so we won't be using that. So I think at this point, I know that's kind of overwhelming. I've pulled everything out of the box that we need, so I can go ahead and remove this. Everything that we're going to be playing with is on the table, just crappily, and we'll have to organize. So the first thing we're going to need to do to organize is we've got to set up the map. Okay, I got the rulebook. So in the rulebook, there is a spot right here. Oh, let me point out really fast. Here's all of the components that you've got in the rulebook. I guess that they're giving everybody the same rulebooks because, for example, they're saying here the deluxe edition will have these miniatures. Deluxe is the word I was looking for. And the legendary edition will also have these miniatures. So this tile came with the legendary edition. The sound bases came with the legendary edition, stuff like that. The wooden resources came with the deluxe and legendary editions, kind of a thing. Anyway, so in this rule book, you're going to find this spot right here. This is going to guide us, and it's going to tell us which tiles we need to start the game. So take a look. We're going to need 5 of the colorful element tiles and the 5 basic tiles. So here's what we need to do. We need to take these tiles. These are the sets of 3, and for us we have 4 different ones. We need to take these and we need to shuffle them. I don't know the best way to shuffle these kinds of tiles. Something like this, I'm guessing. And the idea is, because the rulebook tells us that we need 5 of those, we need to mostly randomly pick 5 with one exception. And I'll see if that comes up. Remember those layers we were talking about where the monsters live? As we pick our 5, we can start with a maximum of 1. So we're pretty shuffled here. Sure, why not? Okay, so we're going to turn these over one at a time. I need 5 tiles total, but if I draw a second layer, I need to just put that back in the draw pile. So for example, all right, we're going to have a red layer, no more. And then, so this black layer is going to go away. Okay, so we got a blue, we have a red, we have another blue, and we have another black. So no purples, but those are the 5 tiles that we're going to use to start off. We're going to take these other ones, anything that's left over, and they're going to become our draw pile. So these are probably already shuffled except for the layers that I just had to put back in there. These other colorful ones are going to be put into this draw pile right here, and I'll find an amazing place for that soon. And then we're going to take our 5 starting tiles, remember maximum of 1 with a layer, and we need to mix those up with the other 5 with the brown border. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing, do a good shuffle like this. And we just need to build this map according to the shape shown on the rulebook. So for 2 players, I need to build this shape. And so essentially, I'm going to just lay out 3 of these. And I thought I shuffled this well. If I really didn't, I will reshuffle. Okay. And we're going to make that same shape. Whoa, this is a little crazy. But we're going to roll with it. I mean, didn't you watch me shuffle? And I will try. The way I'm orienting these is I'm trying to keep these icons at the top just so it's easier for you watching at home. Oops, that needs to go here, and then here, and then here. Okay, so this is going to be the map that we start off with. The next thing we're going to want to do is for the one layer, we're going to take the monster, put it on. I have the sound base turned off right now. That's going to go there, and we'll put their card nearby. Okay, so we got that part done. The next thing we're going to need to do to build our map is we're going to need to put tokens on those spaces that need them. So taking a look here, I'm going to need, from this set, and I'll find a good place to put this, I'm going to need one black stack. So you're going to take this stack of 3, and in theory they're shuffled as you put them away, turn it right side up, and the icon likely won't match exactly, but that's okay. You're just going to put these tiles right here on that stack, and I think I'm done with this set. Now let's come over here, because there were no purple ones in my shuffling. So then we're going to come over here, and same idea. I need one red stack, so I'm going to turn that right side up, and we'll put it here. And then we need another red stack right there, like that. And then we're going to need 3 blue stacks, it looks like. So we'll go here, and here. And just a reminder, all of these things were shuffled as I put this game away last time. And we'll put this one over here. Okay, and I'll put these up here for now until I find a better place for them. All right, so for the most part, I think Eldervale is built up. This will be growing and expanding during the gameplay using those tiles over there. And while we're at it, something else that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to open the doors for the colors that we're using. So again, we're using black, purple, blue, and red. And so what we need to do is we just need to flip over the top card of those. And that's going to be basically kind of telling us that these ones are unlocked for gameplay. And as time goes on, we'll be able to dig through these specific cards, but the other ones will stay closed and locked. That's why they have a door on them. I think the next thing that we're going to do is let's kind of start setting up this board. We're going to be putting our own pieces on this board here in a second, but specifically what we're looking for are these orbs. And we need to put these orbs on the top of these tracks for the elements that are in play this game. So we had red, purple, black, and blue. And then what we need to do is you're going to find the 2 spaces on the glory track that has an orb on there, and you're going to put 1 orb on each of those. That's why we needed the 2 extra ones. At this point, I think we can get our play areas set up, each player's area. Now, I know that it's really obvious that this is the blue player looking at that beautiful board, but in my videos, I really just like to emphasize that point. I'll usually just put a blank piece of paper underneath the play area so that as we're moving around so much, then it's just that much easier to keep track of where we are. Again, I know it's obvious, but whatever. Now, interesting production choice for such incredible production values so far is that this cardboard piece is actually the lid to this box. It makes me a little bit sad they went this route. I mean, I know why they did it. It's going to save them some money, but I do think it damages the cardboard just a little bit. So as you're peeling up this cardboard, just be super duper careful that you get it out of those clips. You can see I haven't owned this very long, but it does kind of warp your board a little bit. I think some people are putting tape to help protect that. What I'm eventually going to do, I think, is just keep the boards unattached. And I'm hoping that by stacking the different boards one on top of the other, that will keep the pieces in place. But either way, for your player tray, what we're going to have is we're going to have a starting card. This isn't just a reference. This is actually part of the game. It's going to be part of our tableau. And so I'll need to find a good place for this. Sure, we'll go... How do I want to do this? Let's go like this. Okay, so we're going to set up... Wow, maybe I really don't need this paper. And we'll just start setting up a tableau of cards right here. Now, every single one of these boards has 2 sides. So you can look at who you think is the coolest, and you get to pick the one that you want. I think for us, I really like this artwork. Let's stick with the Atlanteans. And so I'm going to keep this one face up. That'll be my faction. And things you want to check for. Every player should have 6 of these roof-looking things. They should have a dragon, a warrior, a wizard, and then they're going to have 6 workers. You should have 6 dice. You should have these starting tokens. We're going to move these out because this is going to be eventually where our coins go. We'll talk more about these in just a second. And then each player is going to start off with one of these resources here. They're not going to start off with 1 coin, but you should start off with 1 gem, 1, what is that, parchment or something, 1 potion, 1 tool, 1 sword, and then over here is going to be a space for coins. Now the other thing that we're going to need to start off with that is important to grab is from the magic deck, we're going to need 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put these cards over here. And we'll talk about these in a second, but what we need to do for starting, you can kind of see how there's like a separation here between the first 3 and these ones over here. We're going to go ahead and grab 3 of these, and these are going to be our starting workers, and we're going to put them on this board. This is going to be called our ready area, so we'll just go ahead and set those there. Let's do the same thing for the red player. Go ahead and just really carefully take off that cardboard lid like this. We're going to need a card. Some people use these starting cards as their randomizers to decide which color to use. I love that idea. I just use the monster cards because I also have 2 sets of monsters that I need to choose between. We'll put this here-ish for now. And then what do we need? We need to pull out these workers here. Now, what I like to do is I actually like to put 1 of these. They recommend you keep 1 of these in this tray or like to the side, maybe right here, I'm not sure. But basically, we need to keep 1 of these back. It's going to end up going on the glory track during the game. And specifically, it's going to go back on the track during the game once we start using this card. So for me, it's easiest to just put this thing on the card like this. Let me grab my magic cards really fast. I'm just drawing 5 from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Haven't even looked at them yet. But we'll go ahead and put those right there. And then we're going to take all of these. So I'll grab the ones for the blue player as well. So we're going to take these, and they're going to go on this board. Now, what we need to do is, let's see, pull that down. The red player is going to be my second player, so they're going to start their victory. They're going to start with 2 victory points for being the second player. Let me grab the blue ones as well. The blue player is going to be our first player, so they start on the track with 1 victory point. Obviously, a third and a fourth would go on 3 and 4, respectively. It doesn't matter. And then what you do is you're going to take 1 of your trackers and put it on your matching color. So blue is going to go there next to the 2s on the blue track, and this one is going to go here on the 2s of the red track. The other 3 trackers we're just going to keep nearby. And then they will end up going onto these other tracks as time goes on. So kind of an interesting thing to point out, I guess, is that in a 2-player game, there are only going to be 4 tracks available to us, and we do have 4 markers. But as the player count goes up, you're still only going to have the same number of trackers, but there are going to be more tracks available to you. And so part of the gameplay is going to be to decide which tracks you really want to climb up. And as I mentioned before, the final remaining one, your 6th one, will eventually go on the glory track. Some people like to keep it here, but for me, it's easier to keep it on this card, just as a reminder that the first time you use the card, then you're going to take this marker and go put it on the glory track over there. And holy cow, it's really hard to fit this on the screen, but we are set up for the Dwellings of Eldervale. I forgot to show you really quickly who I was choosing between. So over here, we have either the Ember Crushed Orcs. Oh my gosh, Ember Crushed Orcs. And we have the Fire Witch Goblins. Specifically, I was just trying to get a good mixture of things, but also I kind of think that these ones look a little cooler. So we're going to stick with the Goblins for the red player. I probably should have said that, but we'll go ahead and put that there. Okay, now we are set up, ready to go. I imagine that was pretty whelming feeling, just because it is whelming. There's a lot going on here. But I hope to break this game down for you one step at a time. It's not too bad to learn. Really cool things going on with the colors and the different elements here. And specifically, we won't be using, your eyes are probably like, holy cow, there's so much. But remember, we're not going to use a lot of the things. We're not going to be using any of the white or yellow or green or light blue elements at all in this specific game. So we'll get you there, I promise. Anyway, appreciate you watching. I hope this was helpful for you. I will see you in the gameplay video, so if you're interested in learning how to play this game, click on the link in the description of this video. I will meet you there. Talk to you later. Goodbye.